I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
This is where the fun begins.
Hello and welcome to Jedi Knights, the official Star Wars podcast for JoyClicks. My name is Mike Connors, and as always, I have my co-host joining me through the holonet, Christian Buckley. How are you, man?
This is the way, Mike.
This is the way, Christian. We're here. I feel like we've followed Mandalorian ever since it started in 2019,
Yeah,
and we're here. We're here with season 3.
the podcast has existed longer than, well, at least the releases of The Mandalorian. They did film before we started the podcast, but
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, at least the releases. And yeah, what a milestone, Christian. We're gonna
yeah,
have 7 more weeks, right, of Mandalorian. So I'm pretty hyped.
yeah. And then I didn't write this down, but then you got Jon Favreau out here being like, season 4 is ready to start filming this fall. I'm like, goddamn. Okay.
God damn. So when was the last season? Was it 2020? Yeah, right.
Oh my God, was it? Yeah. Because that was COVID year.
Yeah, yeah, it was COVID year. But that's crazy though, if you think about that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
God. Um, anyways, how you doing, man? You've been, working hard.
Yeah, been working hard. We got Star Wars season popping off now. We got
Yes, yes.
Battle Scars right around the corner. I completely forgot I have to order that still. I would have been, preparing to play Jedi Survivor, but we got another several weeks to go on that front. But we got Mando now, so Star Wars back. Didn't leave for that long. Well, I mean, technically didn't really even leave that much because Bad Batch connected and/or to the beginning of Mando in terms of releasing things, but
Yeah, I was gonna say it hasn't left us at all, actually.
yeah. But how are you? How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm doing good. I'm really excited to talk about The Mandalorian today. Um, this is like I feel like we're going back to the roots, you know. This
Mm-hmm.
is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited for that. Uh, just happy to be here, man. Love doing the pod,
As always.
as always. So do you want to like just, maybe just hop into the news?
Sure thing.
Let's do it. Um, So we got we got a piece of news from the Today Show to start off. Love the Today Show. Just kidding. I used to watch it. My parents used to watch it a lot when I was a kid, actually.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, Hoda and Jenna were talking to Rosario Dawson, who plays Ahsoka. Rosario said, "Ahsoka, that's probably going to come out in the fall. We're going to have Haunted Mansion coming out in August first, which has been pushed up to July.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, that's so far, the release of Ahsoka is kind of exactly what we expected it to be, Christian. Like we've been
Yeah.
talking a lot about like what we think is going to be coming out this year,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been saying Ahsoka in that like and or slot for 2023.
Yeah, I think we were speculating that as recently as last episode. So
Yeah, yeah,
makes sense. Curious to see what's in store this summer. Maybe this is where we slot in Visions season 2 because I think that's also
Mm.
on track to be this year.
yeah. I do believe that is also this year.
So, I mean, Visions wouldn't last a season because it was just all at once doing a drop. So, yeah, we'll see what else is in store this year. But Ahsoka being this fall is good because if this episode of Mandalorian showed me anything, Mike, so I need to be caught up on Rebels.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
um, I mean, yeah, I think fall is probably a realistic expectation.
Hmm.
Haunted Mansion, is that also a Disney thing? Like,
Yeah.
is that the old like Eddie Murphy? Remember the Haunted Mansion?
Yes. So I um, very much enjoyed the ride, and while post riding the ride, when I was at Disney a couple years ago, I remember talking to Kayla and we were talking about how they announced a reboot of the film, not starring Eddie Murphy. I'm not sure who's in it. Obviously, Rosario Dawson's in it. I believe also Jared Leto's in it.
Interesting.
And I don't know who. I think there might have been a trailer that dropped for that in the last couple days. Maybe today even. I didn't watch it, but yeah, they're making another movie.
That is a Disney property, right? That would
Oh
be
yeah,
a
yeah,
Disney
yeah. It's
property.
based off the
Yeah.
ride. They own the ride.
Right, right, right. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I did look up though, according to The Verge, Christian,
Hmm.
Star Wars Vision Season 2 drops May 4th.
Oh, perfect.
Um,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah.
That's so nice.
It's fun. Yeah, it's the thing is though is that I guess according to Wikipedia, and I don't know, take this with a grain of salt because I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not. Um, but it will all release that same day.
Nice. Well, they did that for season one, right?
Yeah,
So
they did do that for
it
season one.
would be ideal to do that again. I think. Again, still slightly bummed that that's gonna be, not just anime, but I'm open to seeing different animation styles from across the globe. I think that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, there are a lot of different studios working on it. I think
Hmm.
there's like, there's a
Aardman, right?
French Aardman is working on it. Yep.
Yeah, that's hype as hell.
Studio La Cachette, which I think is like a French studio.
Hmm.
Um, Ireland's Cartoon Saloon also be working on it. Very funny.
Nice.
um, so yeah, looks pretty cool.
Hmm.
Excited for Vision season 2. I guess maybe we could space that out throughout the summer and it'll lead us right into Ahsoka. How about that?
Yeah, or that's when I do my Rebels like serious go time viewing experience.
Yeah,
So
you got to do that.
yeah.
Anyways, anything else you want to say about Ahsoka coming out in the fall?
No, I think that's good. I think also, despite um, maybe wishing we had something substantial to last us between now and then, um, Marvel's got a big problem with pacing lately in terms of their projects, and I'm glad Star Wars is still keeping it relatively spaced out. You know,
Yeah.
it's infinitely more than we had 10 years ago. One would argue too much if they're like you're getting weekly Star Wars for like 3 out of the 4 seasons. It's like with the state of things these days, Mike. I think that's a perfect cadence.
Yeah, I mean, I would always say that like it's better in moderation.
For sure. And I think this year having two big shows and then Bad Batch and then a smaller thing like Visions is like that's fine. That's good.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Anyways, let's move on into some video game news, shall we? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so Star Wars Jedi Survivors coming out in April, like April 28th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and people have been talking about it. IGN talked to Stig Asmussen, who is the director of both Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, and he was talking a little bit about the Cal Kestis trilogy. He says, quote, I always wanted to see this as a trilogy. How can we take Cal and the crew to new places beyond what we were doing in the first game? We had a pretty decent idea of time frame when we wanted Survivor to take place, what the stakes were going to be, what the tone of the game was going to be, what Cal was going to be up against, and how the crew was going to factor into that. And there's ideas of what we could do beyond that as well. And then also friend of the show, Jeff Grubb. No, not actually. He's said that he's heard the assumption is that if Jedi Survivor sells well, then they'll make a third game, and that would likely be on Unreal Engine 5, which is I think the newest right iteration of that engine.
Yes, newest Unreal Engine. I think it dropped for like general use for developers. Maybe it was this year. I think like 2023. I think is when it was really opening up to who had access to it. I want to say, but
Gotcha.
yeah. I mean, this is cool. I have a theory about this, Mike. Specifically, it's sort of like a culmination of the theory you and I have discussed before about Cal. Um, I think the reason we have not seen Cal in animation or film or television yet, keyword, is because of how successful Jedi Fallen Order was at like revitalizing Star Wars games and also like revitalizing EA, but mainly like the Star Wars games to the point where Lucasfilm like sees Respawn and their achievement in making what many would say is just the best Star Wars game in Fallen Order. Um,
Yeah.
I think they respect Respawn enough and the writers there and the creatives there that are like, hey, tell your story with Cal. If you want to do a trilogy, seems to be the vibe. Make your 3 games with Cal Kestis. Give him as definitive as of an ending as you would like, whether that is just him riding off into the sunset, or if that's you're gonna kill him off. Whatever you want to do with him, tell your story with Cal. Once Respawn is done with it and they're ready to move on to like either a different Star Wars project, either or a different character or something else like original, like Titanfall 3, then Lucasfilm would be like, okay, now we can fill in the gaps of Cal's story, where he
Right.
could show up in Andor season. Well, they're not getting season 3, but you know what I mean. Like some other project
Yeah.
around these time frames to fill in these gaps, because I don't think they want to like throw Cameron Monaghan in an episode of The Mandalorian and then step on Respawn's toes to be like, well, now you can't kill him because he's got to survive until The Mandalorian. You know.
I think you're exactly right. I think that after the success of Fallen Order, I think before Fallen Order there wasn't a guarantee that any more would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Fallen Order was so successful that of course that's easy money there. Uh, and because of that, I feel like Disney, like you said, trusts Respawn in a way,
Yeah.
because they've delivered before and they've created a compelling character. They obviously have an idea for like where they want to see it go, but would be something that would be interesting for the player, like the player as well. Um, and yeah, I think that they're just gonna let them do what they need to do, finish it, and then they'll take it from there. You know, put them in put them in the Bad Batch somehow, right? I don't know.
Yeah, because like I mean, like they easily could put him in the Bad Batch now because we know
He
timeline
was alive.
wise,
Yeah.
he's alive, and two, he's we know what he's doing roughly around then, or like
Right.
a couple years later. But I think that's also the thing of them not wanting to step on their toes. Where like if they
Yeah.
introduce him in the Bad Batch and they want to tell a story with him and Omega and like that, because you know they'd both be like kids roughly. Um, if something there doesn't fully line up, like something in there could restrict what Respawn is able to do with him as a character, even subtly, in their next game with Cal, right? So
Yep.
I think even though they could just like run it by Respawn, I think that's just an extra step that they don't want to bother with right now because they don't need to.
Yeah, I think that they're just letting them do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a character that Cal Kestis, they created him. It's like their baby. Just let them continue on with what they had in mind. I'm sure that I'm sure they've had some legit conversations with like top brass over at Lucasfilm and been like, yo, these are our ideas, like approve them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like Lucasfilm doesn't know, right? It's all part of the plan, baby. It's
Yeah,
all part of the plan.
yeah. I think that's the expectation there. But in terms of a third game for Cal, I assume you like that.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Haven't even played the second one yet, Christian. I love it.
Yeah, hell
Um,
yeah.
I mean, I really think that the Star Wars Jedi franchise has legs even past Cal. Like, I think it would be really cool if they told like a very complete story with that character in 3 games,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not they want to kill him or he just lives on
Mm-hmm.
is up to them. But like, it would be cool to have that, and then like maybe another trilogy of games with like another Jedi or something, like telling a different story throughout
Mm-hmm.
like 3 games, and it's the same sort of like Star Wars Jedi under the same banner, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Also, I know we floated around the idea of like maybe them doing the spiritual successor to the Force Unleashed, or like telling a story about a Sith character, or maybe hopping around in time, um, or honestly just doing something new. Like I wouldn't be opposed to seeing them just start another really great Star Wars trilogy that is maybe not focused on uh
Yeah,
like From Software Sekiro style lightsaber combat. Like maybe do finally like a Rebel spy game or something. You know, like I think I
yeah,
trust them to do anything with Star Wars at this point.
I do too. We need a Titanfall version. We need to reskin Titanfall.
Dude, I mean, I know Respawn is working on a Star Wars first person shooter right now. Like that's been they've confirmed
Oh
that.
right. Yeah, yeah,
But like genuinely, if because I Titanfall, even Apex, very fun to move around in. Imagine if they made like Battlefront, like a Battlefront game, not Battlefront 3 probably, but like a brand new Battlefront. It's from fucking Respawn, dude.
that would be awesome actually.
Yeah. Or literally any shooter. Respawn making a Star Wars shooter is a win regardless. It doesn't have to be Battlefront, you know?
I want Star Wars Battlefront 3 from Respawn. That's what I want.
Sure, I'd be down.
Well, what about you? Of course, you're probably cool with getting another Cal story after Survivor, right?
Oh, sure. I like Cal. I wouldn't say the first game made me like love Cal as one of my favorite characters, but I do like him a lot, and I'm curious to see how they like build off of him and his emotional trauma from the first game that he overcame. Like I want to see how that progresses in the sequel, especially if you're calling the game Survivor. I really want to see him like push to his limits because I think, at least from memory, right? I don't recall Cal ever being like feeling like he was gonna lose, if that makes sense, or like feeling stressed. Like he's definitely been like, "Oh no, Vader's in front of me," but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like something that really feels dire. If you will, Mike, I would like this to be the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy.
You want Survivor to be that?
Yeah, and I mean, if you have a name like Survivor and he's got a beard now, like I feel like you gotta have it be a little darker.
Yeah, right. Both BB-8 and Cal Kestis have beards now. So no, that's so true. Once you grow a beard, man, that's when you're in your dark era. So Cal Kestis is going to be dealing with some shit.
Yeah, what do you think the third game is called?
Okay, so we got Fallen Order, then Survivor, then oh god, this is really hard, dude. Don't put me on the spot like this. Do you have any ideas?
Master.
I was literally thinking the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Because
kind of funny. I was just like, I don't know.
I made a video about this on my TikTok, and somebody commented saying like the third one should be called Jedi Knight, and I was like, not bad, but I think he's technically a Jedi Knight already. So like,
Yeah.
if he's able to become a master, and then if we're going into the other theory we've talked about before, where he ends up teaching at Luke's academy, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, make him a master at the end of this series. I'd be down.
Maybe Star Wars Jedi Redemption.
Ooh, get some Red Dead tones, some Red Dead
Yeah.
vibes.
Maybe Cal in this one starts to dabble with the dark side a little bit.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. You know? I don't
St-
know. uh Anything else you want to say about Fallen Order?
no, I'm excited. I
Fallen
keep
Order. Star Wars Jedi, you know what I mean.
yeah, I'm excited. I keep going back and forth on if I want to do a replay, because the thing is I don't want to burn out on that like structure of game and then get the new one and then be like, oh well, I just played 20 hours of this, so like I'm like, do I play it on like baby easy mode and just go through the story? Do I just what do I do? I don't know. I don't know, Mike.
I don't know. I it's a tough decision. What are you leaning to?
The thing is, I'm so hungry for that game that I'm like, maybe I should do the replay. But then it's the other thing of like, if I'm really hungry for Jedi Survivor, would it be better to just continue waiting and then be fully fed by Survivor, or nibble on Fallen Order, and by the time Survivor gets here, and be like, oh yeah, and then is this, I got a little more. I don't know.
I
It's
don't
tough.
know. I think you just gotta do what you think is right.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Unfortunately, I do not know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
The longer I wait, also the worse it gets, because then I'm just getting closer to the next game.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So, did you do the replay? I know you're considering.
I did. I'm considering it. I don't know. I was playing it like maybe a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then I just like stopped. I have been playing Hogwarts Legacy.
Mhm.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I hopped into the combat trials because I remember they added that, and I never really messed with those. So
yeah.
I downloaded the game and I hopped in to fight the gauntlet of like the saber wielders. So like the ninth sister and Malicos.
Oh, yeah.
Like I did that one, and I couldn't beat him because I was playing on Grandmaster. But um, yeah, I don't. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We'll see. Because I know it's a brief game, so if I just play it on a lower difficulty, I'll be fine. If I don't
Yeah,
mess
you
with the
just
side stuff, I'll be fine.
breeze right through it. I probably won't, honestly. I have a really hard track record with just like finishing games and stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanna like I can only really focus on one game at a time, and it takes me a really long time to finish games.
No,
So
I totally get that.
I'll probably just I don't know, maybe like watch a YouTube video.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
As lame as that is, like
despite my full-time job being working for a video game website, I surprisingly don't play that many full video games anymore. So,
I mean that honestly doesn't surprise me. You got a lot to look at.
yeah, but I mean, the thing that really gets me like is I think back to when we originally got it, and I was like, Jack beat and platinumed that thing in a weekend. So if he did that, I can do an easy story replay. You know,
Well, Jack's like not human when it comes
that's the other thing.
so, so like I don't know if that's quite like the best comparison.
That is a fair little asterisk.
And I love Jack. He would be the first to admit that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably hop in again and see if it can like at some point after I finish Hogwarts Legacy because I really want to finish that. Um, like I think I'm gonna jump in see if it hooks me, but if it doesn't, then I'm not gonna like force it. I also know that Tears of the Kingdom's coming out, right, Christian? So you got like competition as
Yeah,
well.
that's the other thing, Mike. We got Fallen Order, because I think we talked about this also in the last episode. I'm moving around. Then I think is
Yeah.
at least what everything's on track to be. So like Fallen Order comes, or Jedi Survivor comes out the 28th, and then I got that to deal with, and then Tears of the Kingdom is on the 12th of May. So that's tight, and then well, I occasionally dabble and play in some really bad video games. So like maybe the end of the month I get suckered into buying that Suicide Squad game, you know. And then like 2 weeks after that is the next Final Fantasy game that I'm really excited for. So like I got some problems to deal with. So
Yeah, man. I don't know how to help you with all that, to be quite honest with you.
no, yeah, I don't know. But
Well, good luck to you.
thank you. I'm glad.
Keep
I'm
us
glad
keep
Survivor's
us
first.
updated.
I can probably at least start it before I have to be doing moving things. I think.
If you really put your mind to it, I feel like you can maybe beat it.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. All right. Well, looking forward to that. Keep us updated, Christian.
We'll do.
Um. Anyway, we're talking a little bit about TV. What if Cal Kestis shows up? Let's talk about Mandalorian, but not episode 5 or episode 1 of season 3 yet. Let's talk about Mando Mania, baby. Uh, there were Boba Fett Tuesdays or whatever.
Well, the thing is,
Nacho Wednesdays.
the thing is, Mike, it started as Mando Mondays. It's like that makes sense,
Yeah.
and then it became Bounty something.
Some I don't even know.
It was something Bounty, and then it was like we thought they would do Obi-Wan Wednesdays, and I did they? I don't even remember if they did.
I think they did something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the point is they keep rebranding this thing. It's the same thing. Every week we get a merch drop.
Yeah, it's just a merch drop. I don't know why they just didn't keep Mando Mondays though.
Yeah,
That
it
one
makes
makes
sense, dude.
that it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, anyways, we're stuck here with Mando Mania. A limited weekly celebration of exciting products inspired by Star Wars original series, including The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and more. Kicks off, you know, today? Not today. This week.
This
It
is
already
the other
kicked off.
day
You're
that
listening
begins
to
with a
it.
T. We are recording on Thursday. It started on Tuesday.
Yes, yes. So anything good that you saw that came out of Mando Mania?
So I'm in the market again because I'm gonna be moving into an apartment that's probably gonna have thin walls. Uh, I'm like, I need good quality headphones to play video games with
Yep.
because I
Yep.
can't be having a sound bar anymore. So I'm already I'm already like trying to justify purchasing expensive headphones. And then they dropped some like Astro A30 something. Like I know nothing about headphones, Mike, but
Oh, the Logitech ones here.
yeah, um, that have the Mudhorn on one side, and then on the other side it's like a Din silhouette holding the dark saber, which I'm not as crazy about. But like the color scheme of it and the Mudhorn plate, I'm like that's cool,
Yeah, it is super cool.
but
The
it's
Mudhorn
also two hundred
thing
fifty
looks.
dollars.
I mean, it's probably awesome though.
Probably. I was looking at some reviews earlier today, and I couldn't really get a good sense, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I don't know, man.
But
The
did,
Mudhorn thing is pretty sick.
it is pretty sick. Did anything stand out to you from our first Mando Mania drop?
Um, Not really, to be honest. Like, I kind of I'm kind of underwhelmed by these. I feel like when Mandalorian first started and everything, they would like talk about a lot of stuff
Yeah.
on Mando Mondays.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just like, you know, headphones, freaking Tamagotchi because it's 1993. Uh, the This Is the Way planner. Like, yeah, not really interested in much of that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like post season one with these drops, like they don't get interesting until like midway through the season.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that's when they start to like maybe some action figures, right? Something like that.
Yeah, or like secret characters that you didn't know were gonna be in the show. Here's some
All
stuff for
right,
them, you know?
exactly. But there is something else that's cool that we picked up on. There's a Mandalorian themed Xbox Series X and then a Grogu themed Xbox Series S, which they look really freaking cool. They really do. I think the
Yeah.
Grogu one is better,
Hmm.
honestly,
I agree.
but both are very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm into. I already own a Series S, and I believe Xbox does these a lot. They do a lot of like themed console partnerships, usually with Disney stuff. Um, but I believe the only way to get these is to win them in their contests. I don't know if you can just buy these things.
Oh, really? This is a contest thing? I thought this was like they were selling it.
I'm almost positive it is a contest that is running through May.
Yeah, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they also have like a special little Grogu colored controller that matches the paint, the green paint, and it comes
Yeah,
with like a little controller cozy that looks like his little robe.
he's so cute, that Grogu.
Yeah, isn't he?
He's
Um,
so cute.
but I will say I don't have a Series X, and I'm starting to get worried that I don't have one because of when Starfield comes out. But
Oh, yeah.
like my Series S should be fine, but it probably won't be, you know, like on paper, like it has every justification that it should be adequate to play that game, but I doubt it. So like seeing that Mando Series X, it's a good thing I can't buy it because I probably would.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Um, yeah, that kind of gets me scared with my PC too. This is like a build from 2019 and it's already showing its wear on
mm,
some things. So it's like
yeah,
I don't know how much longer I have, you know.
Yeah, gotta update those drivers, Mike.
uh, you know it, man. That stuff's so expensive though. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
Anyways, speaking of the Mandalorian, Christian,
Hmm.
shall we talk about season 3, episode 1?
We shall.
All right, let's get into it.
Can I
Season
say?
3.
Oh, go
Hold
ahead.
on.
No,
I just
no,
want to
no.
say
Yeah.
spoilers for season 3, episode 1. If you of the Mandalorian, if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Hmm.
Go watch it. What were you gonna say?
Please read what is written out as the title.
The Mandalorian season 3, episode 1, chapter 17, The Apostate.
When I was typing that out, I was like, "This sounds like I'm in church."
That's true. A reading from the book of the Mandalorian.
Season 3, episode 1, chapter 17, The Apostate.
Yeah, legit.
I was like, "God damn."
Dude, oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah. But yeah, man, we're here. We're finally back. If you if you've only been watching The Mandalorian and not the book Boba Fett, you're probably really freaking confused. Because Grogu's back, and so is The Mandalorian, and we got some cool stuff happening in this one.
Yeah. To start, I just want to ask you,
Yeah.
were you surprised that the recap did not include their reunion from Boba Fett?
Yeah, I was very much surprised about that
I was
because it's
too.
like it's like you would expect that to be part of it. Like was there anything from Boba Fett in that
No,
recap?
there wasn't. What threw me, Mike? I was talking to you this a little bit before, but I've dedicated myself to waking up earlier to watch these because I have to be online for my job, um, and I would be spoiled. So I'm like, I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna do it. So I barely even sat up out of bed. I grabbed my PlayStation controller. I went over to Disney Plus. I started it. Now earlier in the week, I binged season 1, which I still enjoyed very much. Um, season 4 is best, or episode 4 is the best one. Um,
Episode 4 is the best one.
but when I woke up and started this, and I saw the finale of season 1, I'm like, did I click season 2? Because they open with IG-11,
Yeah, I
which
was really confused.
I was thrown off. I was like, this is either going to be very extensive, but it wasn't because there was no Boba Fett. And then I was like, am I wrong? It's like, no, we're just going back to him for some reason. But
I mean, it ends up making sense.
oh, it does, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was very jarring. That.
Hmm.
Um, Overall, I thought it was a pretty solid first episode. In a way, though, I do feel like it was like retelling. It was trying to catch people up, like who hadn't watched Boba Fett.
Hmm.
And there were like some scenes where I was just like, this seems unnecessary because like I feel like I already know, you know. Like there's a whole scene in the beginning with like the Mandalorian and the armorer,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
like
dude.
dude, that scene came like so Mandalorian like walks into the armorer's like armory or whatever, and they start to like have a conversation just like totally unprompted, like literally the same conversation that they had in the Book of Boba Fett,
Yeah.
like the whole like like you broke the creed, you have to go bathe in the waters, all that kind of stuff. I was like, holy crap, like I've already heard this before. But then I remembered nobody else watched Book of Boba Fett, so um
Yeah.
I
So
I don't know.
I'm with you. Like, if I had to give this I think this episode is good. If I had to give it a number, I'd probably give it like a 7.5, personally.
I think you're right on the money with that. 7 or 7.5.
Because you, me, and Jack were texting about this when it came out that this was going to be a half-hour episode. Slight air of disappointment. And I don't know if we talked about this on the show last week, or last episode, but um, my expectations for what this was going to be were firmly set. And Mike, I was kind of, again, not details, but I was kind of like, I felt like I was right when I was watching this.
Yeah.
It was an episode that was meant to just recontextualize things, not necessarily walk things back, but like we've talked about this at length. Our theory is whatever the original plan was with this show, when season 2 got wildly popular because it really like stepped up numbers wise for season 2,
Yeah.
the focus shifted. And I think this episode makes that pretty clear, pairing with the fact that, like, yeah, they reunited these two characters off screen, for, again, people who haven't kept up with everything. But in these 30 minutes, we spend, like, roughly 10 with Grief Karga, and then we spend about 5 or so with the Armorer and the Children of the Watch, and then we spend like a minute or two with Bo-Katan.
Yep.
And then the rest of this episode is a small conflict with some pirates who are also probably going to come back later in the season.
Yeah, it was just there was decidedly not a lot of action, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a lot of exposition, like you said.
Yeah, which I think you would like assume out of a season premiere of like, hey, what's the vibe this season? But I think when season 2 happened, right? Because I assume you're going to talk about that premiere as well. Like the premiere of season 2, season 2, episode 1, just in comparison.
Oh, well, I mean, like in comparison, yeah, it's they're completely different. Like season 2, episode 1 was like kind of created for like the big screen in a way.
Sure, so that might be a little unfair, but
Yeah.
I
But
think
but I know what you mean though. Yeah.
yeah, like season 2, episode 1 feels like a natural progression of where we left off in season 1, episode 8, right?
Yep.
This doesn't, because I think what we've talked about, again, it's all like speculation, but like the focus shifted from deliver Grogu to the Jedi to don't we all love this father and son? What if he became a king? You know? Maybe that's the direction we go. Which, again, I'm super down for. I love that idea. But I think this is the episode that happens when you make that shift. Which is fine.
Yeah, I think so too. It was definitely enjoyable. Like I'm not trying to like put it down or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because like I did like it a lot.
It's very cute.
And it was very cute. It was good to just like see them back. Like I don't know, that just made me happy, you know? Like But yeah, if you're going to really make that shift like you're saying, and you're going to start to follow down that path of okay, like this is really about Din Djarin and not really I don't know. I thought the whole conflict would be like Grogu and Din, their relationship, but it seems it's just like Din Djarin, you know.
Yeah.
Because he, you know, Grogu came back from Luke and everything. This is, yeah, you're definitely right that this would be like the first stepping off point for like following that path to where Din Djarin like becomes the ruler of Mandalore or something.
Yeah. Which I think they're very proud of what they've been able to build with the Mandalorian. So I think it makes sense, and especially for how beloved the show and Din are. Like, I don't think there would be a single person that would be bummed if it was like, yeah, Mandalore begins to come back to its former status, and then Din is the reluctant king. Like, I don't know if people would be upset with that, really. I sure wouldn't be, and I have been on record on this show being like, not everybody in Star Wars has to be something special, but I think Mandalorian in itself as a project in Star Wars is very special. So like shifting the story to be more of a focus on that rather than, you know, gotta make a delivery, I think it's fitting.
I think you're definitely right. Do you want to talk a little bit about the episode itself? Anything that jumped out to you, stuck out to you?
I was very puzzled at why we flew to Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
For literally a minute, man. Like, I was very excited to see her again. I was very excited to see where she is. as a character, and it makes it pretty clear she's kind of depressed. It seems very apathetic.
She's very cynical about
Uh-huh.
it all.
Which I like. I think that's interesting for her. But it very much felt like a all right, see you in 3 weeks sort of thing. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It's also weird that like his whole mission so far is that he's gonna go to Mandalore, bathe in the living waters, right?
Mhm.
And he's just like, but first, let me take a quick jaunt to the Mandalore system, like before. Like I don't know, it just seems like really out of place. I was thinking about the logistics of that. And I was like, you're really just gonna go now? Like, why don't you just wait till you're ready? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I I did like though. I love when we check in on Navarro, um, and
Oh
just
yeah,
like seeing what Grief Karga has been able to do, especially rewatching season one this week. Um, I do like how he always seemed like like if business needed to be handled, he would do it. But especially in the finale when he's trying to like bargain with Gideon, I'm like, he's not a coward, but like he's got a little bit of a softness to him, and I
totally.
appreciate seeing that here in this episode.
Yeah, and I do think it was like that whole B plot basically with Grief Karga dealing with like the pirates and having to sort of like reckon with his past in a way. I thought that was really interesting. And like you said before, I think those pirates might come back.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't know. The whole ending of this episode, I know we're jumping around a lot, but like just talking about the pirates really quick.
Mhm.
What was up with that like Pirates of the Caribbean dead man's chest looking guy? Like,
He's
what's up with that?
he's the space pirate king apparently, which
Dude, he
I liked what he
what
I liked how he
what
looked.
is he?
I don't know, but he looked like a Jim Henson creation, and I liked it.
He did look like a Jim Henson creation. You're so right. It was like super weird though. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. I guarantee you there's gonna be some like really suspenseful thing in like episode 5 or 6, and they're trying to like face off against some empire thing, and they might be about to have the upper hand, and then out through hyperspace, the pirates caught up to him. I think that's probably what's gonna happen.
You think so?
That's my guess.
Interesting.
I would be annoyed if they're chasing them the entire season. If like the pirates
Do,
keep showing up on them.
do you think that might be what happens though?
No, I don't think so.
I hope not.
Um, how did you feel about going back to our conversation about recontextualizing and
Oh god, I
shift
know what you're gonna
shifting
ask.
the focus of what this show is? Two very important characters to this show. Period. Like it's not like part of the show. Like they were critical to the plot of seasons one and season two. Uh, Cardoon and Moff Gideon both explained away in the same breath. What did you think of that?
Well, I do think we're gonna get Moff Gideon again, right?
I would hope, and I know Giancarlo went to the premiere, but I also saw Bill Burr was there, and I don't think we've heard anything about him being in this season. So,
I would not be surprised if he is though. I was
oh,
just
I wouldn't
about
either.
to
Yeah,
bring the yeah. Bill Burr is definitely just gonna like show up in this season. Uh, I think that yeah. So the Cara Dune thing was really funny.
yeah,
They definitely had to say something
yeah.
because, like you said, as much as Gina Carano is like kind of a piece of crap,
Hmm.
Cara Dune was a big part of the story in the past two seasons, so they can't just pretend like she never existed. Um,
I did think it was funny though. Like everybody, including us, were correct. Like he's like, she's off world. You know,
yeah, exactly.
she's doing something.
Yeah, what was the excuse? It was like, oh, she got recruited by the
The
New,
ranger or something. Yeah,
yeah, New Republic Special Forces. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
That's it. That's it.
yeah.
So I think that's also nice because it gives them room to recast in a season and bring the character back and hopefully be a bit more interesting. Because again, rewatching season one at the time, I thought Cardoon was cool. you know, just as like being like an
Same.
ex-Republic shock trooper, but they never really like fleshed that out ever, you know. So yeah, recast, bring her back, or don't make a new character. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe just don't.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of upsetting though.
yeah,
Really dropped the bag on that one.
yeah. Um,
Uh, I have a question for you.
mhm.
What did you think about, Grogu looking out into the hyperspace lanes?
Yeah.
Seeing those weird creatures. What are those?
So that, Mike, is why earlier I said I gotta get caught up on Rebels.
Yeah. So those are Purgils, I think.
Okay, and I know vaguely where things leave off for most of the characters in Rebels, like when the show ended, just because I've existed in a Star Wars space on the internet.
Yeah.
Um, haven't seen it play out, don't know all the details, and don't have like super strong attachments to all those characters, but I I know some people were jumping out of their seats when they saw those.
Yeah, I honestly was just kind of like blown away that they went there.
Sure,
I do think it might be a connection to Ahsoka though, the Ahsoka show.
definitely.
Just because at the end of Rebels and do you know what happens? I always feel like weird
No,
just
I know. Like Ezra uh, and Thrawn are both MIA. I think he's MIA because of what he did to get Thrawn away or something like that, and then
yeah.
whoever is able are looking for them, including like Ahsoka's looking for them, and I think Sabine also.
Yes. The Purgils show up in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
They're very influential to the last season.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. They can travel through hyperspace just naturally.
Uh-huh.
Don't ask me how, but they can, and that's definitely what Grogu was seeing, um, in that one Starfighter. So pretty
Nice.
cool. I dug it a lot.
So, do you think that that's how they're gonna work in Grogu to be more than just the like physical comedy relief this season? Like, are they gonna work in Grogu to like be working with not like working with Ahsoka, but like having some connection to like sensing what's beyond, hyperspace through the Force? Because I doubt Din could see them.
Yeah, I don't think I think that if you're force sensitive, if you're not force sensitive, you can still see them. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that that would just make sense. If they're smart, they would continue on that whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would hope that like Ahsoka maybe shows up in this season at some point to sort of like tie in all of that, right? Like Grogu's got to have something to do other than just like be there and like conveniently uses force powers. So like I think he needs to it would be good if he has his own sort of journey throughout the season where he sort of like reconnects with maybe like Ahsoka and you know becomes part of like a larger plan. Not exactly sure what that would look like,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got to do something.
Yeah, and I think that's another instance, even being like very small and brief of setup for the season, because you would expect Ahsoka shows up at some point for an episode, and maybe
Yeah.
that ties into that with Grogu. So, and then in the immediate future, we have the quest to revive IG-11.
True. We do.
So,
Which I love that. Thank God. Bring it back.
yeah, never thought that would happen.
Yeah, that wasn't on my bingo card.
No, that surprised me. After a full season of not even mentioning the dude's name, we're going back for him. I'm like, okay, cool, sure.
Yeah, like Mando's just like all of a sudden like super attached to him. He's
Yeah,
like, no, this one's my friend.
yeah,
It's like, since when, bro?
yeah. Well, I mean, it would make sense, right? Where season one, that was such a big thing for him. He's like, no droids. And then in the end, he makes the sacrifice
Yeah.
to save Grogu. So it's like, okay, maybe one droid, you know.
Yeah,
But
and it turns out only one droid.
yeah. Um,
It was cool to see Babu Frick's species in this.
sure.
I love that.
Hmm.
The Azalians or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called. I forget.
Yeah, I forget too. Um, I think that's all the main stuff that happened.
Yeah, that was kind of
Uh,
it. It was a pretty brief watch, breezy one.
yeah. Although there's been some chitter chatter outside of TV
Hmm.
with Jon Favreau saying that Grogu was training with Luke for 2 years. So basically, what that means is the time elapsed between the end of season two and the Book of Boba Fett is 2 years. So that is kind of interesting to me. It seems like they're trying to just like justify the Book of Boba Fett or some. I don't know. They're trying to like write it in after the fact instead of like coming up with it while they're
Yeah,
creating it.
I don't know, dude. Like, is it is it like because I've seen some people interpret it as like we've spent 2 years away, like in real time, because kind of have I don't know, like it's tricky. I have no idea what he means by this. If he's literally exactly what he means is what he's saying, they've done a very poor job showing that. And when I saw that later that day, I was watching an episode of season one, and then like a scene later after some conflict, Amanda was like, "Yeah, that happened like a few weeks ago," and I was like, "It did." I was like, "Okay."
Uh, yeah, maybe it's just like never really been good at
Yeah,
communicating time.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking like maybe they're just like trying to. Again, they didn't walk anything back, but they're trying to like make you feel stronger that they were separated for a long time. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could have been shown a lot better.
Yeah, I just feel like it would be a lot stronger if they showed that, instead of just being like after the fact, just being like, oh,
Yeah,
actually, that was 2 years.
yeah,
It just seems like they're throwing a band-aid on it. I don't know.
yeah. So, because that would also raise some questions of like, okay, timeline wise, where does this take place? Is Ben Solo out there right now with Luke? Like, what's up? So, I don't know.
Yeah,
Weird. I'm
I
sure
don't
we'll
know,
get a
man.
follow up quote about that in the near future
Yeah, we will keep our eyes and ears peeled.
for sure.
I don't know if you can keep your ears peeled. Can you?
I can
Probably
keep
not.
them open.
Keeping them open. That's for sure. All right. Anything else you want to say about season three, episode one of The Mandalorian, Christian?
Not really. I'm looking forward to next week. From people who have seen both episodes, I've heard that next week is when it really, like, gets going.
Okay, that's positive.
Yeah. So I
I hope it's
saw.
longer.
I know. Yeah. I saw something to the effect of like, hey, yeah, this one was like a lot of regaining your footing, and they didn't like the magic wasn't fully there until like towards the end, but next week is like real good. So I was like, okay, cool.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
I'm looking to
excited.
see. Oh yeah, so season three, episode two has a runtime of 42 minutes,
Nice.
24
That's
seconds.
better than this one.
Yeah, definitely.
So
All right, man. You want to take us out to sea?
sure thing. Mike, where can the listeners find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at Chun2D2. You can find the show on your favorite audio service like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to support the shows, it is free. Do rate, review, like, do all those things. It helps us out a ton. If you would like to support us further, you can go to patreon.com/joyclicks, the $1 and $5 tiers. And you can find the show on Twitter at Jedi Knights JC. You can look up the show anywhere at Jedi Knights without the K. And we will return next week for the next episode of Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 18. But until then, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the force be with you.
Oh, yes, 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 you're right. Beep is up.